Right, Ewan, thanks for joining us in and amongst all the chaos. Now, today you've got a couple of harnesses to show us, and I think the first one you've got is the Mosquito. So do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
So, Wild Country over the last couple of years have sort of completely revamped their harness range. So we got 4 new ones last year, and for this year we brought out 2. One a very old favourite, and this one here, which is the Mosquito, which we've totally ground up designed. It's aimed at sort of the sport climber, indoor climber that just wants lightness and comfort over sort of gear loops and features. So straight away, we can see gear loop wise, you do have 2 rigid gear loops at the front, and at the back, we've got 2 sort of stringy ones, just for those sort of hard red points where every ounce matters. It's going to help you a lot. Construction wise, we've got this lovely laminated mesh on the inside. So if you're going shirts off power, it's going to be really nice on the skin and seamless on the edges, so it's not going to rub. Important to know with this harness, it is one of the lightest harnesses Wild Country's ever made, at 220 grams. It really is up there with some of the lightest harnesses on the market currently. Cut down weight with sort of little things like elastic for the rear adjustments. There's no sort of faffs or frills with this harness. It really just is designed for those hardcore sport routes.
It's funny, Ewan, we're obviously filming this within the depths of January, and right outside, I think it's Storm Christoph is blowing, and the idea of removing my T-shirt, in fact, the thought of even removing my jumper a few whiles back was pretty alarming, but it's nice to think forwards to when these will be published in March. So you're 220 grams anyway, so that's pretty impressive. And from the components as well, it looked like, whilst weight has been reduced, it still looked like it was going to be like a comfortable harness, because the good thick tape, good width to it. It looks like it's still actually designed with functionality in mind.
Yes, I mean, you don't want a harness that's going to sort of cut you in half when you're hanging on a rope, and this has definitely been designed with comfort and lightness in mind, and just to maximise everything Wild Country can do with its harness technology.
With the 2 gear loop combo as well, I reviewed another harness earlier this year, I think it was, 2020, years blend into one at the moment, which had a similar configuration where you had one actual rigid gear loop and then another which was actually almost like a really fine tape.
Yeah.
Initially, I was worried that I was going to be really annoyed by that, but the thing that became swiftly apparent is that on a lot of sport routes, particularly around where I'm based in the Peak District, where you're maybe going to need 12 quick draws. So actually 6 on the front and 6 on either side means that you're exclusively in the rigid ones. And then if you do need any more in the back and you put a couple in there, they're actually remarkably usable gear loops, considering the weight saving. It seems to make very little difference in terms of the functionality and the use during actual performance. It doesn't seem to have any drawback or negative attachment to it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we do, there are photos from the guys in Italy testing it, of using it on trad lines, where, you're maybe not carrying huge amounts of gear, but you want a nice, lightweight, comfortable harness. You can still get all your cams and beaners and things on this harness.
So at the very opposite end of the spectrum, we have the updated Synchro, which has more gear loops than you could ever need within the space of a single lifetime.
Absolutely. This is for your standard single pitch. So Synchro, very, very popular harness, just fully adjustable. So a lot of the features everyone loved about the Synchro, it's been kept. We got 2 buckles at the top on the waist, 2 on the legs. So it is fully adjustable. So whether you're doing trad or winter or sport, you can really get your fit absolutely dialed in. 3 gear loops on this side, and then another 3 on this side. And then we do have that 7th at the back, so you maybe your Prussic or your belay device. Really chunky webbing. It does have this really unique feature. If you see there, it says air mesh. So what we have in the background here, because obviously it's quite large, they've put some holes in the mesh, so it will breathe really nicely through the background. So any sort of big multi-pitches where you're sitting around your harness for a long time, you're not going to get really sweaty because it's going to breathe quite nicely, which is a nice little touch from Wild Country.
I welcome the day when I can sweat on a rock climb outdoors, Ewan.
I know. Looking forward to getting up to the lakes and things. But yeah, just the general all-around comfortable pretty burly harness. The Synchro is one to look out for. They've tried not to make it too sort of big wall-esque. I know it does look quite wide there. If you hold it against sort of the Wild Country session, it is not actually that much wider, but just the waistband is a lot more rigid. So it's going to offer a huge amount of support.
It's not too, I mean, I've actually got a dedicated big wall harness that I literally couldn't free climb in, to use the American term, because of the fact that it is just so big. So something like that means, as you say, you'll still be able to go to the lakes and do some multi-pitch routing without feeling like you can't actually move your leg up because all the tapes are too large.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely aimed at comfort, first and foremost, but to climb in is really, really nice. I've been using one for a month or two and just think it's a superb addition to the range, and one everyone's asking for.
Great. And these should be available as and when these go live.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Ewan. That's great. They look fantastic. And again, I look forward to trying them out as and when the winter rains stop.
No worries. Cheers, Rob.
Cheers.